And this is a one versus many hidden movement horror board game where players are going to be choosing asymmetric investigators, each with their own major and minor abilities. But like I said, this is a one versus many game, so there's going to be one player playing as the enemy with their own special abilities, but then each enemy also has a set of attack cards and special ability cards, and you're going to be choosing from these cards at the start of the game which ones you want to play with, because you can only play with one attack card and a few ability cards depending on the player count. This is really neat because you could even play the same character and have a very different game depending on those cards that you choose. And all the players will be playing on a location board. And there's going to be a few different locations in the game, and these are going to have some different themes, buildings, and features, as well as different points of interest for the players to interact with. And everyone's going to be sort of playing on the same board, except for the enemy that's going to have a smaller version of that board hidden behind their player's shield. And the reason for that is because this board is shrouded in darkness, and there's going to be some different points of interest and items that the players can't see but will be visible on the enemy's board. And also the enemy will be using that board to keep track of where their character is, because all this information is hidden from the other players. But the way that this game works is that each round there's going to be an event card drawn, and these are going to get increasingly more difficult throughout the game, and these are going to cause trouble for the players. Then the players are going to be taking turns performing their movement action depending on the movement that their character has. Then they can spend stamina for additional movement, or to interact with different POIs, or to use items that they might have in their possession. Players can also use their flashlight to light up areas of the board at the cost of their batteries. But this can be really useful because this will help you discover those hidden items out on the board, or to help you find where the enemy is hidden. And when players do this, they're going to be using a special component that represents the light of the flashlight. The enemy player is going to have to look at their smaller board and then let the players know if anything that they can't see is now lit up. And if the player happened to flash the light onto the enemy, then that enemy player is going to be taking their character token and then putting it from their small board onto the main board. And this is going to allow all the players to see where that enemy is, and they're going to stay there until they're able to get away and hide back into the darkness. But after all the players have had their turn, the enemy's going to get a turn, and they'll be able to move around on their personal board or the main board depending on where they are. And if they are on that smaller board, they can also interact with different things out on the map, but this can also create noise, and they'll have to leave noise tokens as they move around on the board, which kind of leaves a trail to the other players of where that enemy has been. But of course, they can also use their attack and ability cards to try and deal damage to those players. Of course, all of this does leave a bit of a trail behind you, so you'll want to be strategic when you do take these actions. If the players are able to complete their objective before any of them get killed, then they win the game, but if any of them are killed, then the enemy wins the game. And if this one sounds interesting to you, I have links in the description below.